Our readings today are all about reconstruction for the next season. They're all about what's happening in the future. Our readings are about moving from one season into another. These are not the readings I sent out earlier this week. This is a combination of some of the readings from Shabbat Kol HaMoed Sukkot. This is some of the readings for the day of Sukkot. This is some of the readings that are actually usually done on Simchat Torah, the redoing of the Torah scroll. And I put them together in a specific way because I want us to see how God takes us from one season to the next. He doesn't leave us hanging. He doesn't let us just deconstruct. He provides the way of going forward. There's another tradition that is associated with Sukkot, and that is to read the book of Ecclesiastes. Now, we are not going to take the time to do that today. But during the day, today, take the time to read the book of Ecclesiastes. It starts off kind of, that's what I feel about it. It's just kind of vanity of vanities, all is vanity. And I was told at one point that basically that says, bubbles, bubbles, all is bubbles. Worthless, worthless. It's all worthless. It's kind of a negative viewpoint, right? A very negative viewpoint. But he goes through the process of evaluating his philosophy of life. Solomon does. And if you stop in the middle of it, you will have problems. If you stop in the middle of Ecclesiastes, just like if you stop in the middle of deconstructing, unlearning things without rebuilding, then you end up in a deep depression. Because it's depressing. It's hard. But if you'll go through to the end and you go through the process and you hear out the ideas that is all there, I'm going to read the last few verses the first few verses of the last chapter. Ecclesiastes 12. This book is has a headline on it. You know how I said the headers are not God's word, but I like this header, Ode for the Aging. Yeah, we're there. It says, so, remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of misery come and the years draw near when you will say, I have no pleasure in them. Before the sun and light and moon and the stars grow dark and the clouds dissipate after the rain, in the day of the keepers of the house tremble, and the strong men stoop and the grinders stop, because they are few, and those peering out windows grow dim. When doors are shut in the street and the sound of the mill fades, when one arises at the chirp of a bird and all their songs grow faint, when they are afraid of heights and of dangers on the road, when the almond tree blossoms, the grasshopper drags itself along, the caperberry fails to excite. For man is going to his eternal home, and the mourners will go about in the street, before the silver cord is snapped, or the golden bowl is crushed, or the jug at the cistern is shattered, or the wheel at the well is broken. Then the dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God, who gave it. Therefore, remember God, your Creator, in the days of your youth. Now, we're not as young as we used to be, but I will say right now, remember God today and in this coming year. And let's look for what God is going to do. Today's readings, like I said, all come out of the concept of transition. The first reading is out of Deuteronomy 33, 1 through 29. Are you going to be able to read today, Craig? He's having trouble coughing and stuff. Deuteronomy chapter 33. This is the blessing of Moses. After God has told him, you are going to go up on the mountain and I'm going to take you home. You are not going into the land. Here is the last words that he said to the people of Israel.
Now this is the blessing with which Moses, the man of God, blessed the sons of Israel before his death. He said, "The Lord came from Sinai and dawned on them from Seir. He shone from Mount Paran, and he came from the midst of myriads of holy ones. At his right hand there was flashing lightning for them. Indeed, he loves the people. All your holy ones are in your hand, and they followed in your steps. Everyone takes of your words. Moses issued to us the law, a possession for the assembly of Jacob. And he was king in Jeshurun when the heads of the people gathered, the tribes of Israel together. May Reuben live and not die, nor may his people be few." And this was regarding Judah. So he said, "Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him to his people. With his hands he contended for them, and may you be a help against his adversaries." Of Levi he said, "Let your Thummim and your Urim belong to your godly man, whom you tested at Massah, with whom you contended at the waters of Meribah, who said of his father and his mother, I did not consider them. And he did not acknowledge his brothers, nor did he regard his own sons, for they kept your word and complied with your covenant. They will teach your ordinances to Jacob, and your law to Israel. They shall put incense before you, and whole burnt offerings on your altar. Lord, bless his strength, and accept the work of his hands. Smash the hips of those who rise up against him and those who hate him, so that they do not rise again." Of Benjamin he said, "May the beloved of the Lord live in security beside him who shields him all the day long, and he lives between his shoulders." Of Joseph he said, "Blessed of the Lord be his land, with the choice things of heaven, with the dew, and from the deep waters lying beneath, and with the choice yield of the sun, and the choice produce of the months, and with the best things of the ancient mountains, with the choice things of the everlasting hills, and with the choice things of the earth and its fullness, and the favor of him who dwelt in the bush. Let it come to the head of Joseph, and to the top of the head of the one who is prince among his brothers. As the firstborn of his ox, majesty is his, and his horns are the horns of the wild ox. With them he will gore the peoples all at once to the ends of the earth. And those are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and those are the thousands of Manasseh. Of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and Issachar in your tents. They will call peoples to the mountain. There they will offer righteous sacrifices, for they will draw out the abundance of the seas and the hidden treasures of the sand. Of Gad he said, Blessed is the one who enlarges Gad. He lies down as a lion and tears the arm, also the crown of the head. Then he selected the choicest part for himself, for there the ruler's portion was reserved. And he came with the leaders of the people. He executed the justice of the Lord and his ordinances with Israel. Of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's cub. He leaps out from Bashan. Of Naphtali he said, Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full of the blessing of the Lord, take possession of the sea and the south. Of Asher he said, More blessed than sons is Asher. May he be favored by his brothers, and may he dip his foot in olive oil. Your bars will be iron and bronze, and as your days, so will your strength be. There is no one like the God of Jeshurun, who rides the heavens to your help, and the clouds in his majesty. The eternal God is a hiding place, and underneath are the everlasting arms. And he drove out the enemy from you and said, Destroy. So Israel lives in security, the fountain of Jacob secluded, in a land of grain and new wine. His heavens also drip down dew. Blessed are you, Israel. Who is like you, a people saved by the Lord, the shield of your help, and he who is the sword of your majesty? So your enemies will cringe before you, and you will trample on their high places.
Moses does not leave without a blessing for each of the tribes that is specific to them from what they've gone through and what God is going to take them through. Genesis 49:33, 1 through 33, Paula is going to read, and that is Jacob blessing his children. Genesis 49.
Gotta get back to it.
Thank you, Paula.
Doesn't seem like it was marked. Oh, it is. I didn't see it. Okay.
Goes another direction.
Then Jacob summoned his sons and said, Assemble yourselves so that I may tell you what will happen to you in the days to come. Gather together and listen, sons of Jacob. Yes, listen to Israel your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might and the beginning of my strength, preeminent in dignity and preeminent in power. Uncontrollable as water, you shall not have preeminence. Because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it, he went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Their swords are implements of violence. May my soul not enter into their council. May my glory not be united with their assembly. For in their anger they killed men, and in their self-will they lamed oxen. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I will scatter them in Jacob, and disperse them among Israel. As for you, Judah, your brothers shall praise you. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons shall bow down to you. Judah is the lion's cub. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He crouches, he lies down as a lion, and as a lion who dares to stir him up. The scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the peoples. He ties his foal to the vine, and the donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washes his garments in wine, and his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are dull from wine, and his teeth white from milk. Zebulun will reside at the seashore, and he shall be a harbor for ships, and his flank shall be toward Sidon. Issachar is a strong donkey, lying down between the sheepfolds. When he saw that a resting place was good, and that the land was pleasant, he bowed his shoulders to carry burdens, and became a slave at forced labor. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent in the way, a horned viper in the path, that bites the horse's heels so that the rider falls backward. For your salvation I wait, Lord. As for Gad, a band of raiders shall attack him, but he will attack at their heels. As for Asher, his food shall be rich, and he will yield royal delicacies. Naphtali is a doe let loose. He utters beautiful words. Joseph is a fruitful branch by a spring. Its branches hang over the wall. The archers provoked him, and he shot at him and were hostile towards him. But his bow remained firm, and his arms were agile. From the hands of the mighty one of Jacob, from there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. From the God of your father who helps you, and by the Almighty who blesses you, with blessings of heaven above, blessings to the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the breasts and of the womb. The blessings of your father have surpassed by the blessings of my ancestors, up to the furthest boundary of the everlasting hills. May they be on the head of Joseph, and on the top of the head of the one distinguished among his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning he devours the prey, and in the evening he divides the spoils. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what their father said to them when he blessed them. He blessed them, every one, with a blessing appropriate to him. Then he commanded them and said to them, I am about to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephraim the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Mashphalah, which is opposite Amri, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham brought with the field from Ephron the Hittite as a burial site. There they buried Abraham and his wife Sarah. There they buried Isaac and his wife Rebekah, and there I buried Leah. The field and the cave that is in it, purchased from the sons of Heth. When Jacob finished commanding his sons, he drew his feet into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people.
Thank you. I'm knocking things over. As Janie was told by the Lord this morning, serve in your gift, and Paula's apparently been told the same thing. And that's true for all of us. I love what it says here, that he blessed each one with a suitable blessing, a blessing appropriate for that tribe, based on history and based on prophecy of what he knew God was going to do in that group. The same thing with Moses. His words were based on the history and on the future. These are the blessings of the patriarchs. If you want to know more about each of those blessings, then come to our Rosh Chodesh gatherings, because every month we honor one of the tribes. And you can see it on the wall over there by where this month was, right? And this month is one of those special months because it's given honor and given way to the festivals. And so we don't really study that. But we will talk about that more when we come around next year. Cheshvan, we will begin in 2 weeks on Wednesday. Come or watch, because we're going to record them. But it's better if you come. It's easier for me to teach to people that I can see. I hate to say that. I love the camera, and I love those of you who watch us online, but it's easier to teach when I can see a face and I can know whether or not people are understanding me. But anyway, each of these blessings is appropriate for each tribe, and there's something to be learned in each one, and we will be approaching those and learning about those each month. Now we're going to read about a different transition. Craig is going to come and read for us again. He's going to read Exodus chapter 33. And this is a transition from being at the base of the mountain, where God has told the people, go ahead and go, but I'm not going with you because you're stubborn and rebellious and you messed up. And let's see what a godly leader does in that situation. Exodus 33.
Then the Lord spoke to Moses, Depart, go up from here, you and the people whom you have brought up from the land of Egypt, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, To your descendants I will give it. And I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Go up to a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in your midst, because you are an obstinate people, and I might destroy you on the way. When the people heard this sad word, they went into mourning, and none of them put on his jewelry. For the Lord had said to Moses, "Say to the sons of Israel, you are an obstinate people. If I were to go up in your midst for just one moment, I would destroy you. So now take off your jewelry, that I may know what I shall do to you." So the sons of Israel stripped themselves of their jewelry from Mount Horeb onward. Now Moses used to take the tent and pitch it outside the camp, a good distance from the camp, and he called it the tent of meeting. And everyone who sought the Lord would go out to the tent of meeting, which was outside the camp. And it came about, whenever Moses went out to the tent, that all the people would arise and stand, each at the entrance of his tent, and gaze after Moses until he entered the tent. Whenever Moses entered the tent, the pillar of cloud would descend and stand at the entrance of the tent, and the Lord would speak with Moses. When all the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, all the people would stand and worship, each at the entrance of his tent. So the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face, just as a man speaks to his friend. When Moses returned to the camp, his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, would not depart from the tent. Then Moses said to the Lord, "See, you say to me, bring up this people, but you yourself have not let me know whom you will send with me. Moreover, you have said, I have known you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. Now then, if I have found favor in your sight in any way, please let me know your ways, so that I may know you, in order that I may find favor in your sight. Consider, too, that this nation is your people." And he said, "My presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest." Then he said to him, "If your presence does not go with us, do not lead us up from here. For how then can it be known that I have found favor in your sight, I and your people? Is it not by your going with us, so that we, I and your people, may be distinguished from all the other people who are on the face of the earth?" The Lord said to Moses, "I will also do this thing of which you have spoken, for you have found favor in my sight, and I have known you by name." Then Moses said, "Please show me your glory." And he said, "I myself will make all my goodness pass before you, and will proclaim the name of the Lord before you. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show compassion to whom I will show compassion." He further said, "You cannot see my face, for mankind shall not see me and live." Then the Lord said, "Behold, there is a place by me, and you shall stand there on the rock. And it will come about, while my glory is passing by, that I will put you in the cleft of the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take my hand away, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen."
What did Moses do when the people failed? Did he give up on them? No. He fought for them. He argued with God for them. Do you have someone in your life you need to argue with God for? I do. I do. I have people I need to argue with God for, people that I love. He went back that way, I think. We had someone that was going to come in the door, and I think he thought it was too late. I think he went back to his vehicle.
There's nobody that way. I looked.
Well, anyway.
Gone. Yeah. I don't know.
It's okay.
I need to walk anyway.
Thank you, Paula, for trying. Yeah, he got in a car out there.
Oh.
It's okay. I love this. Moses said to the Lord, you say to me, bring up this people, but you've not let me know who you will send with me. Moses says, you know what? God said, these are your people, Moses. And Moses says, oh, no, they're not. They're not my people. They're your people, God. And that's exactly what it boils down to in faith. Your pastor does not own you. Don't let me try. I don't want to. You don't belong to me in that sense. You belong to God. It's my job to pray for you, to intercede for you, to call for you, to have you be who you're supposed to be in God. The best you can. Now we've lost more. It's okay. But God said, I will cause my goodness to pass before you and call out the name of the Lord before you. I will be gracious toward whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will be merciful. It's the concept of grace as it shows in the Torah. They have found favor in my sight. Grace. The people of Israel did not deserve it. Moses called on God to extend the grace that he had before God based on his relationship with God and to put it on the people. Now that sounds kind of different, right? But Moses said, look, I have found favor with you. I have been upright before you. I have honored you. So therefore, take what you've given me in grace and put it on the people that are here. Whether they've earned it or not, let them stand in my grace. And that's exactly what Jesus does for us. He says, Father God, I stand in favor with you. Now put my favor on the people. Right? It is the concept of grace. Grace from God extended to us because of the righteousness of someone else. As Moses stood before God and he said, take the grace that is mine and put it on the people, as Jesus stands before God and says, take the grace that is mine and put it on the people, my question is, do you need to stand before God and say, God, I'm not perfect and I don't deserve their grace, but I know you've given me grace. So I ask that you extend it to this person in my life. As you have forgiven me, I forgive them. Would you forgive them and extend grace to them as well? That is what Moses did for the people before they left Mount Sinai. He asked God to extend the grace to the people so that God would go with them. And so we pray for each of us, each one, that God will extend his grace to you too, as we go forth in this next year. We're going to read a little bit more, and I know I'm doing this really different today, teaching in between the readings, but that's just what I saw to do, so it's what I'm doing. Now we're going to read, we've read about Moses blessing the tribes, Moses interceding for the people. We've read about Jacob blessing the tribes, and in so doing, he was interceding for his sons as well. Now we're going to read out of 1 Kings, and Janie's going to read for us 1 Kings 2, 1 through 12. This is David, King David, giving the authority and the reign to his son Solomon. His last instructions, 1 Kings 2, 1 through 12.
As David's time to die drew near, he commanded his son Solomon, saying, I am going the way of all the earth. So be strong and prove yourself a man. Do your duty to the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes, his commandments, his ordinances, and his testimonies, according to what is written in the law of Moses, so that you may succeed in all that you do and wherever you turn. so that the Lord may fulfill his promise which he spoke regarding me, saying, if your sons are careful about their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and all their soul, you shall not be deprived of a man to occupy the throne of Israel. Now you yourself also know what Joab, the son of Zeruiah, did to me, what he did to the two commanders of the armies of Israel, to Abner the son of Ner, and to Amasa the son of Jether, whom he killed. He also shed the blood of war in peace. And he put the blood of war on his belt that was on his waist, and on his sandals that were on his feet. So act as your wisdom dictates, and do not let his gray hair go down to Sheol in peace. However, show kindness to the sons of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and let them be among those who eat at your table. For they assisted me when I fled from Absalom your brother. And behold, you have with you Shimei, the son of Gera, the Benjamite, of Bahurim. Now it was he who cursed me with a painful curse on the day I went to Mahanaim. But when he came down to meet me at the Jordan, I swore to him by the Lord, saying, I will not put you to death with the sword. But now do not leave him unpunished. For you are a wise man, and you will know what to do to him, and you will bring his gray hair down to Sheol with blood. Then David lay down with his fathers, and he was buried in the city of David. Now the days that David reigned over Israel were 40 years in Hebron. 40 years. In Hebron he reigned for 7 years, and in Jerusalem he reigned for 33 years. Then Solomon sat on the throne of his father David, and his kingdom was firmly established.
If you remember last week, I talked about how long it took from the day David was anointed to the day he actually reigned as king. And then it took time from the first day he reigned as king over a small number of tribes till they were all there. And then there was a number of time then before he even was in Jerusalem and reigning from Jerusalem. God doesn't work everything out instantly. I wish he did. It would be easier, right? But he doesn't. And sometimes what he gives us to do, or what we are involved with and how we function, gives way to the next person coming up and doing what they are called to do. There's only so much we are called to do, right? David, in his final words to his son, tells him, obey God. Obey God. Right? And not only that, but there's a work that David said he did not get to finish. And he gives it to his son. And he says, carry on. I came this far. You take it the rest of the way. As my heir, as my son, you go farther. And there's a truth that we need to understand in that. We don't always get to finish everything we start. We don't. I know that's a hard thing to understand and recognize. But sometimes we have to pass the torch to someone else. Sometimes that's because of our own choices. I think in David's case, some of that is because of his choices and some of the ways he behaved that were not godly. He wasn't a perfect man. He wasn't a perfect king. He was, in fact, abusive, controlled by his lusts and his appetites in many ways. But he did his best. And he repented when he could. And yet it still cost him. And it cost his children. And here we have the case where he is looking to his son and saying, finish what I could not do. Do what I could not do. Bring justice where justice needs to be brought. Because you can do that, Solomon. I couldn't, but you can. And so David instructs his son to go in to the next step, the next season with wisdom, obedience, and justice. Now we're going to go to the Apostolic Writings. Wynn, are you ready to read for us today? All right. It's good to have you actually in-house today. Yes. John chapter 7, verse 31 to 43. Now this is again a time of transition in the life of Jesus. We're going to read John 7, 31 to 43. Thank you.
But many of the crowd believed in him, and they were saying, "When the Christ comes, he will not perform more signs than those which this man has done, will he?" The Pharisees heard the crowd whispering these things about him, and the chief priests and the Pharisees sent officers to arrest him. Therefore Jesus said, "For a little while longer, I'm going to be with you. And then I'm going to him who sent me. You will seek me, and you will not find me. And where I am, you cannot come." The Jews then said to one another, "Where does he intend to go, that we will not find him? He does not intend to go to the dispersing among the Greeks and teach the Greeks, does he? What is the statement that he said, 'You will seek me and will not find me'? And where am I, that you cannot come?" Now, on the last day, the great day of the feast, Jesus said and cried out, saying, "If anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. The one who believes in me, as the scripture said, from his innermost being will flow rivers of living water." But this he said in reference to the Spirit, whom those who believed in him were to receive. For the Spirit was not yet given, because Jesus was not yet glorified. Some of the people, therefore, after they heard these words, they were saying, "This truly is the prophet." And others were saying, "This is the Christ." But others were saying, "Surely the Christ is not coming from Galilee, is he? Has the scripture not said that the Christ comes from the descendants of David and from Bethlehem, the village where David was?" So a dissension occurred in the crowd because of him. And some of them wanted to arrest him, but no one laid hands on him.
This teaching came about at the end of the Festival of Sukkot. As we're approaching the end of the Festival of Sukkot, on the last day of the Festival of Sukkot, Hoshana Rabbah, which is a day of praise and adoration and gratefulness, there is a tradition to take water from the well outside the city, and bring it in and pour it on down the steps of the temple. Now understand, we're in a high desert area. Okay? The wells at this time of year are at their lowest because they don't have a lot of rain in the summer. And it's a land that depends on the rain. And Jerusalem in particular depends on rain, because it's not that close to a river that has fresh water. It depends on rain to fill the aquifers, to fill the wells. There has to be water in and by this point in the year, and depending on how much it rained last year, this well might be kind of low. So to take buckets of water and just pour them out on the steps, just pour it out, is a declaration of faith that God is going to refill the well. Because water means life. And Jesus is watching this process. And he stands up. If you're thirsty, come to me and drink. If you believe in me, out of your innermost being will flow rivers of water. Now, he's not talking about physical water. He's talking about the Spirit of God. If you are going to church, if you are going to the synagogue, if you are coming to the temple and it is dry for you, you are not getting what you need. You're thirsty for the presence of God. Come right to me, he says. Come to me and let me give you the Spirit. It doesn't depend on who's leading. It depends on your relationship with God. Your willingness to be with him. Come to Jesus, Messiah. Now, I love the fact that the people are arguing about who he is. Have you ever argued with someone and they make a point and you're going, oh, you might want to do a little more research because that's not accurate? Or that's only part of the story? You might want to check that out because that's not the whole of the story, right? And the same thing is true with these people here. Some were saying this is the Messiah. Still others said the Messiah doesn't come from Galilee, does he? So what they know of Yeshua is he's a prophet that came down out of Galilee. Was Jesus born in Galilee? Was Jesus raised in Galilee? Where is Jesus from? Bethlehem of Judea, where he was born. Then he went for a couple of years to Egypt. And God brought him back, and they settled in Nazareth, which is not a part of Galilee, by the way. So he grew up in Egypt and Nazareth, and he came to Galilee, came preaching out of Galilee, and these people aren't even bothering to do their research. They're rejecting him as Messiah, rejecting him as the anointed coming King of Israel because they don't do their research. They don't know where he was born. They don't know where he was raised. And they make a totally false statement. No prophet comes from Galilee. By the way, it's not true. There was a prophet that came from Galilee. One prophet. We read his book on Yom Kippur. Jonah. Jonah came from Galilee, and he was a prophet. But not to the nation of Israel. He was sent to Nineveh, the enemy. I find that an interesting correlation that Yeshua comes as a prophet out of Galilee. And who does he end up going to most? Gentiles, right? Gentiles. When the people, the leadership of his day rejected him, and I say leadership because, all of his followers were Jewish. All of his early followers were Jewish. And in fact, he sent the 12 to the cities of Israel, not outside Israel. It wasn't time for that until after the crucifixion, after the resurrection, after the Spirit was given, after even the leadership of Israel, after all of that, continued to reject him. Continued to reject him. And with Akiva and the group that came out of Jerusalem when Rome destroyed Jerusalem, when they set up their council and they set up the regulations and they put together the system that we now know as the synagogue system. They put together the structured prayers. There was a lot they did that was really good. And there were a few things they did that were not. Partly because they were fighting against the factions. In Israel, the factions were so strong, people hated each other just because they came from a different part of the country and had a different dialect, maybe, an accent that was different, a belief system that might have been a little different. There was the Zealots, Iskari, which is a different group, Pharisees, and the Pharisees were divided into at least 3 groups. the house of Hillel and the house of Shammai, and there was a third one that came up after that. And then the Sadducees, and they were divided up into a couple of different groups. And so we had all these denominations. Can I say that? Political parties, because honestly, a lot of it was politics. Whether or not you're going to work with Rome, whether you're going to hate Rome, whether you're going to join with it, and it was just, and they hated each other because they disagreed with each other. I don't know about you, but I've been watching things and listening to things, and I'm going to tell you, just watching at the discussion board groups online on Facebook, local community groups, if you say something that can be construed as Democrat, then a bunch of people attack you. If you say something that can be construed as Republican, other people attack you. And pretty soon, right, Shelley? You and I have been watching this together. She'll say, did you see this one? Did you see this one? Did you see this? And the sad thing is, we're not arguing ideas. We're not discussing what we disagree about. We're not looking at it going, okay, so how would you solve the problem of people being hungry? We're not doing that. What we're doing is we're calling each other snowflakes. We're calling each other names I can't repeat because I refuse to. You libtard, right? And you're a T-rumper. You know, I mean, it just is back and forth, and it's ugly. And it unfortunately impacts the church. Good, godly people who say they love the Lord are hating each other over differences of opinion about how problems shouldn't be solved. It's the same thing that was happening in Israel when Jesus came the first time. And Jesus says, quit looking at each other. Let me give you my spirit. And he tells the people then, there's going to be the day that you're going to look for me and you're not going to be able to find me. And they think that he's talking about maybe he's going to leave the country. And no, he's saying he's going to the Father in heaven and they're not going to find him because they've closed their minds and closed their eyes to him. And when you close your mind to God here, you come along here, it stays closed. You have got to be the one to start opening your eyes and saying, God, open my eyes and let me see him. Don't let me keep walking in darkness. It was pretty close to this time that Jesus began teaching that he was going to die. There was a shift in his ministry after this season, where instead of saying, the kingdom is here, repent, the kingdom of heaven is at hand, repent, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Instead, he began saying, they're going to kill me, but I will come back. They're going to kill me. They want to destroy this kingdom, but I will come back. In preparation for that, we're going to go to John 13, and Deborah is going to read for us out of John 13, verses 1 through 19. Some of the final things Jesus taught his disciples before his death.
Now, before the feast of the Passover, Jesus, knowing that his hour had come, that he would depart from this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. And during supper, the devil, having already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had handed all things over to him, and that he had come forth from God and was going back to God, got up from supper and
and laid his outer garments aside, and he took a towel and tied it around himself. Then he poured water into the basin and began washing the disciples' feet and wiping them with the towel which he had tied around himself. So he came to Simon Peter. He said to him, Lord, you are washing my feet. Jesus answered and said to him, what I am doing you do not realize right now, but you will understand later. Peter said to him, never shall you wash my feet. Jesus answered him, if I do not wash you, you have no place with me. Simon Peter said to him, Lord, then wash not only my feet, but also my hands and my head. Jesus said to him, he who has bathed needs only to wash his feet. Otherwise he is completely clean. And you are clean, but not all of you. For he knew that the one who was betraying him, it was for this reason that he said, not all of you are clean. Then when he had washed their feet and taken his garments and reclined at the table again, he said to them, do you know what I have done for you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are correct, for so I am. So if I, the Lord and the teacher, wash your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I gave you an example, so that you also would do just as I did for you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a slave is not greater than his master, nor is one who is sent greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them. I am speaking about all of you. I know the ones whom I have chosen, but this is happening so that the scripture may be fulfilled. He who eats my bread has lifted up his heel against me. From now on, I am telling you before it happens, so that when it does happen, you may believe that I am he.
Jacob spoke to his sons regarding what they had been, what they had done, and their future, what God was going to do in them. Moses spoke to the tribes regarding the blessing that God had on them individually as tribes. David spoke to Solomon and said, take my work, honor God, and finish with justice. Jesus says, be filled with the Spirit and serve each other. Serve each other. We've actually done foot washings here. Some people don't like it because they don't like their feet touched. Yeah. But the idea isn't about whether or not we can wash each other's feet in the physical. The idea is about, are we willing to be servants of each other? I had a phone call last night I didn't want to answer because I just didn't feel like it. I didn't want to talk to someone. She called again. I didn't want. We were watching TV, relaxing. I'd finished picking out the scriptures. I was just trying to veg a little bit, and the phone rang. 4 times, maybe 5 times she tried to call on my cell phone, and then she called the house phone, and I went, you know what? I need to talk to this person. I need to put aside my desire for just vegging out and watching a Little House on the Prairie. Just a veg out show, you know? And talk to this person. I need to give of myself because this person is obviously in need, and she was. In fact, the first 5 minutes of the call, she couldn't form words. That's how scared and how upset and how frightened and how stressed she was over a situation that's happening in her life. where it looks like her retinas are detaching and where she's got blind spots, and the doctors gave her all these possible reasons, and what that means is she can't work, and if she can't work, she can't pay her bills, and if she can't pay her bills, where's she going to live? And everything all at once. Do you ever have one of those days where everything hits you at once? And she reached out. Jesus said, be servants. I didn't want to deal with all that because I was being selfish. But I'm glad I called her back because she needed someone to listen. We need each other. We need to be willing to serve each other. We need to be willing to be there for each other. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes we don't want to do it, right? Jesus said, wash each other's feet. Do you understand what I have done? You call me teacher and master, and rightly you say I am your master. I am your teacher. I am Messiah. And yet, I came to serve. That's true for each one of us. Whoever we have in our lives that we think we're better than, we're not. Simple as that, right? Those who look up to us, we need to serve. Those who look down on us, we need to serve. We need to learn to walk in love with each other. Yeshua continues some of his teachings on that night. And one of the teachings he has is, as you have loved me, love one another. These things, this is chapter 15 of John, these things I command you so that you may love one another. None of the tribes is greater than the other. They all have different positions. They all have different giftings. They all have different things they do. There isn't one that lords it over the other, or should, I should say. Humanity being what it is, sometimes we do. But as Janie was told, do your gift. Do what I've gifted you to do. I'm going to tell each of you the same thing. Do your gift, but do it with humility and love. Ask God to take whatever blessings he's put on you and give it to the ones in your life that need it. Ask for the grace that God has given you to be shared with those around you. Recognize as we go into the future, our frame has to stay strong. We may feel wind battered. We may feel stressed. We may have problems. We may need to get up and figure out how to straighten up the roof on that. We may have to wipe it all down today because it rained yesterday before we can go out and eat, right? We have maintenance that we need to do on ourselves. But understand something. If my frame is in Jesus, Yeshua, if my faith is in him, and I am letting his Spirit lead me, and I am willing to be his servant to you, then the next year is going to be good. This next year is going to be good. If we don't do those things, it will not be good. Psalm 86 is our psalm for the year. It is a prayer of David. Turn your ear, Adonai, and answer me, for I am weak and needy. Yeah, I feel that. Watch over my soul. It says here, for I am godly. What that means is I'm staying faithful to you. Not perfection, faithfulness. I am choosing to be faithful to you. You are my God. Save your servant who trusts in you. Be gracious to me, my Lord, For to you I cry all day. Gladden the soul of your servant. For to you, Lord, I lift up my soul. For you, my Lord, are good, ready to forgive, full of mercy for all who call upon you. Give ear, Adonai, to my prayer. Listen to the voice of my supplication. In the day of my trouble, I call on you, and you will answer me. Go home and read the rest of it. Psalm 86. We are started the year 5786. So Psalm 86 is our psalm for the year. God is great. He does wonders. Teach me your way, Adonai, verse 11, that I may walk in your truth. Give me an undivided heart to fear your name. I praise you, O Lord my God, with my whole heart. I glorify your name forever, for great is your loving kindness toward me. You have delivered my soul from the lowest parts of Sheol, or the grave.